Right, you donkey. Rock steady. Right, you donkey. La 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 la. And I was just a little laddie. My daddy bought a fiddle for me. And the only tune that I could play, yes, the only.
This is an update on our attempts to speed up the 1994 Easy Go Marathon. As you can see, we made a few changes to the buggy, and we probably have about $1,850 into this thing so far for our $299 buggy. The first thing we did was we removed the power diode, which is being used for the bypass for the 2 additional batteries that we added in the back. The diode worked, but the original controller was kind of shot, and we were able to find a new one on eBay for about $186. Here's the new controller. It's a Kurz controller, and it was from China. It took about a couple of weeks to get here, but it was a plug-and-play kind of thing. You can see I've labeled all the things. There's the 48-volt relay, which was used for the bypass. That's now our primary relay. It's a little dusty in here. We went off-road with it the other day. As you can see, all the wires are now 4-gauge, except for the main motor wires, which go to the forward and reverse switch here, which are 6-gauge, I believe. So I'm going to have to replace those, get a little more amperage. The newer controllers can be programmed so that you have a digital throttle and it will switch forward and reverse without having to go through this massive power switch. And that's that for the controller. The controller gives a lot smoother power. It's rated for 48 volts. Like I said, it was only $189. Most of the domestic manufacturers want $400, $500 or more for controllers. It's a lot of money. This is the diode that we originally used along with a relay to provide a 48 volt bypass to the cart, and while this worked, it didn't provide a very smooth acceleration, and since the controller wasn't working very well, we decided to just break down and buy a new controller. Since our battery pack is now 48 volts, we needed a 48 volt charger, and I found this Stanley online for about $115. They've now dropped the price to, I believe, under $100. Now it does put out 10 amps maximum charging current, and some people online say that's not enough for a battery pack this big, as you need to gasify the batteries. But so far it seems to be working pretty good. It charges it up to about 52 to 53 volts, which is about fully charged. I turned off the battery charger because it does make a bit of noise. We have added a voltmeter. Once again, this was like $3 on eBay from China. And you can see that we are at 56 volts right now, but that'll drop down rather quickly to about 52. And we have our horn, lights, and beacon. We've also added turn signals. These were left over from a camper, and wired the brake lights and turn signals. I have a power switch here to turn on all the 12 volt accessories. The turn signal switch was from eBay, and it's $28 including shipping. It actually provides 4-way flashers as well as turn signals, and also has an input for a brake light switch. And since we were no longer using the kickdown switch for the 48 volt bypass, I mounted that switch down here on the brakes, and you can see it's on the other side of that piece of plastic, and that provides us with brake light switch capability. Now, with the new power supply, we're getting about 15-16 miles an hour regular basis, so we decided to take the next step and go to larger tires and wheels. A lot of the larger wheels are 13-inch, 14-inch. They're mag wheels. You can spend about $500 to $600 to $1,000 on them, and they're very low-profile tires. I found this set on eBay for $360. It was another $40 for the center caps and lug nuts. And they're 10-inch rims, but 22-inch tires. does kind of give it a Jeep-like buggy look. Certainly gives it a nice ride. The handling on these carts is, of course, a little quirky. They're not meant for high speeds. And we are getting up to about 18 miles per hour. It even hit 19 briefly. 17 usually on average. But the handling on these things, I mean, the suspension system is very primitive. It's just a half spring, elliptic spring in the front. And then when you hit a pothole or a bump, it kind of jerks the wheel out of your hand. You have to be very careful. And of course, this raised the lift by another 2 inches, since these are 22-inch tires and our previous ones are 18. Anyway, we'll take it for a spin and we'll see how fast it goes. Okay, so we're all charged up. We're showing 54.4 volts. That's pretty high. Got our speedometer going on the cell phone, and the power's on, seat belts fastened. Turn on our overhead beacons so we don't get run over, and let's give it a shot. So we still got lots of torque even with the larger tires. Let's see how it goes. Nice day on Jekyll Island. 12 miles an hour. GPS is not entirely accurate. 15, 17, 16, 17. Come on, baby, show us what you can do. It's a solid 17 anyway. But last night we had it up to 18. 18, there we go. Miles an hour. So there you have it. It's a good 18 miles an hour, which is a big improvement from the 11 we were getting when we got it new. It does sit up quite high now. One problem we do have is that if you go into the wind, this windshield acts as a sail and will slow it down by a mile an hour or more. So we don't really have all the torque we need. So the next step is to probably replace those wires, and also to with heavier gauge wires, and then maybe go to a high torque motor. And that's going to cost some money, but we don't have to do that right away. And there's the buggy.
What's your nature be that you don't give? So ride me donkey that you don't give. La 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 la. Ride you donkey, ride you donkey. La la.